Out of the millions of games that have been played in the NBA, how would you determine the greatest single game performance ever? Is it just the raw numbers, the stakes involved? Is there a way to quantify something like this? Believe it or not, there is a stat for this. There are actual numbers that support the case that Michael Jordan's 69-point game is the greatest single game performance in NBA history. The statistic that we'll be using for this discussion is game score. What exactly is this? It gives a rough measure of a player's productivity for a single game. The game score in basketball depends only on the actions of an individual player and their scores during the game. The game score formula depends on factors such as points scored, field goals, free throws, assists, steals, blocks, and rebounds. At the same time, losing the possession with turnovers or causing fouls results in a reduction of the game score. Each component has a weightage factor associated with it. A score of 10 is considered an average performance, whereas a score of 40 or higher is extraordinary. Unfortunately, we can only go as far back as the 1977-78 season to see each player's game score, so this only applies to the modern NBA. Which player has the highest game score ever? Let's go through the top 3. Kobe Bryant's 81-point game is third with a game score of 63.5. Luka Doncic's 73-point game is second with a game score of 64. And at number 1 is Jordan's 69-point game with a game score of 64.6. Let's take a look at his full box score to have an idea of why he ranks number 1. He went 23 of 37 from the field, which is 62.2%. He went 21 of 23 from the free throw line. He had 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, and he only committed 2 turnovers. He was ultra efficient and simultaneously had the greatest scoring and rebounding performance of his career. Both totals are his career high. He had a positive impact in every aspect of the game, and that's why he was rewarded with such a high game score. What motivated him to such a dominating performance? This is what he said to Slam magazine in 1997. Quote, "I think the game I had against Cleveland when I had 69 was strictly off of anger and disappointment." End of quote. What made him so angry? He was referring to what occurred at the midway point of the third quarter. As he was going for a breakaway dunk, he got fouled while he was in midair. This is what he continues saying about that play to Slam magazine. Quote, "I fell the wrong way and I was really in pain, and the whole crowd cheered. And that right there pissed me off because they were more in tune to winning than someone's health. And that kind of got me fired up. That's when I went crazy." End of quote. It's never a good idea to make Michael Jordan mad, and it's even worse when he already has it going. This is what he proceeded to do after that play.
Feels it, and it's going to be awfully tough to slow him down right now. Boom.
Oh my. Michael Jordan. Bud Williams. Jordan. 49. Paxson's got trouble. They get it to Jordan. He goes for the 3. He gets the 3. 59th and 60th points. He's got him. 60 points for Jordan.
His hands.
Jordan from 13. Jordan has 63. 4-point overtime victory. Michael Jordan with 69 points.
The Chicago Bulls needed every bit of those points to escape with a 4-point victory in overtime. Scottie Pippen only finished with 7 points on 3 of 10 shooting and committed 8 turnovers. John Paxson only had 2 points and he fouled out after 23 minutes of play. BJ Armstrong contributed with 6 points, and reserve Stacey King finished with 1 point. They couldn't generate any offense, so it was up to Michael to carry his team. He did not allow the Cavaliers to complete the 18-point comeback, and he responded whenever they needed a play. Before we go any further, there is a question that needs to be responded to. Does Jordan believe that this was his greatest game? According to the LA Times, when he was presented with this question, he responded without hesitation, quote, "This would have to be it. I've been saying that I try to do whatever it takes for us to win, whether it's scoring points, getting rebounds, or making assists. I think this exemplified it. End of quote. But what about the testimonials of the Cavaliers players? What did they have to say after witnessing that performance? Let's start with what Craig Elo said. Quote, "He just amazes me. All the shots he takes are phenomenal. He's so quick. Then he pulls up on a dime or jumps over you." End of quote. Then we have what John Williams said. Quote, "The guy did it over, and over again. He's 1 in a million, 1 in a billion. I don't think we'll ever see a player like him again. He's probably the world's greatest athlete." End of quote. It's important to remember that Cleveland was a solid defensive team that year. They finished 6th in opponents' points per game and 10th in defensive rating. But they had no answers for him that season. In fact, he averaged 44.8 points for the 5 games he played against them. It's no wonder he was called the Cavs Killer. But it wasn't like everyone was throwing roses at his feet. There was some controversy that came out of this game. When you're single-handedly dominating a team like that, there's a good chance that someone's not going to be a good sport about it. That's what happened with Cavaliers coach Lenny Wilkens. He hinted that he was getting favorable treatment from the referees. He said this after the game, quote, "He's a great player and he gets all the calls. And if he gets all the calls, he's tough to play against." End of quote. This was something that did not sit too well with him. Jordan pointed out the hypocrisy of that statement when he said this to reporters, quote, "I don't know how Wilkins can sit there and say things like that when Mark Price gets to the line 20 times and half of them aren't fouls." End of quote. That was not an exaggeration. Mark Price went 17 of 20 from the free throw line. In fact, the Cavs as a team had 50 free throw attempts. That's 17 more than the Bulls. There was no need to put an asterisk on this game. He beat this team fair and square. This performance had it all. Dominant numbers, crazy highlights, drama, clutch moments, and a bit of controversy. Everything that you will want from the greatest individual game. The real question is it any coincidence that Michael Jordan's greatest game is also the greatest single game performance in NBA history? But what about you all? Do you think this is the greatest performance by a player? Which one do you think should have that title? And do you think his record-breaking game score will ever get topped? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.